So now let's have a look at example C. So example C says, given AB equals AC, so these two lines are equal, we want to show that the line AP is the same as AQ in magnitude. Okay, so to start off with proofs or wanting to show something, I prefer to write down our goal. So want to show. So this stands for want to show. What do we want to show? We want to show that AP is the same as AQ. So it's just a goal that we can work towards. Okay, so let's start with the information we're given. So we're told that AB equals AC. Well, what does that mean for us? Well, AB, where is the line AB? This is the line AB, and then this is the line AC, all right? So these two lines are the same in distance, in magnitude. So what does that mean? Well, see here how A, B, and C form a triangle. If AB and AC are the same, that tells us that this would be an isosceles triangle because the two sides have the same distance, which means that A and B angles would be the same because it is an isosceles triangle. So let's write down that reasoning. Okay, so we're told, so given that AB is AC in length, what does that mean? It means that triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle. So ISOSCELES, isosceles. Right, if triangle ABC is isosceles triangle, that tells us that therefore angle A, which is labeled at the bottom corner, left corner, is the same as the bottom right corner angle B because of isosceles triangle rule. Right? So we've got angle A and we've got angle B. So what else do we know about the diagram? Well, we can clearly see here that they've labeled an angle X and they've labeled an angle Y. Well, how does that help us? You also see that angle X and Y lie on this line, which has an arrow indicating that it's parallel to the line BC. So if these two lines are parallel, that tells us that angle A and angle C must be the same because of the corresponding rule, the F rule. And also because of the two parallel lines, angle Y and angle B are the same, again because of the F rule, the corresponding rule. So let's write that down. So X is the same as A because of the parallel lines and the F rule, the corresponding rule. And similarly, because of parallel lines, Y is equal to B because of the F rule. Okay, so if we figured out that A is equal to B, but A is also X and B is also Y, then therefore that tells us that replacing A with X and replacing B with Y, we get that X equals Y. Well, that's cool. What does that mean for us though in terms of AP and AQ and angle X and Y? Well, let me highlight in a different color. Okay, so AP is that side there and AQ is this side here. If you look carefully, we can form a triangle APQ, right? So in particular, angle X and angle Y are the two bottom corners of your triangle. And following the isosceles rule, right, if your two bottom angles are the same, that tells us that triangle APQ is isosceles. And if a triangle is isosceles, it means that the two sides with the corresponding two angles which are the same, then the two sides are the same length as well, which is exactly our AP and AQ. So we can show that AP is the same as AQ. So if angle X is equal to angle Y, then that tells us that triangle APQ is isosceles. So since X equals Y, triangle APQ is an isosceles triangle. So that tells us that because isosceles triangles have the same side length, so therefore AP is equal to AQ because of the isosceles triangle rule. And we're done because our starting goal was to show that AP is equal to AQ. and we've shown that at the end that AP is equal to AQ. So one of the tricks with these geometric proofs is to first make sure you have a goal to work towards. What do you want to show? Then have a look at the relationships which are told and given. What can you make out of the relationships which you're given? So in this case, we arrived at the conclusion that the yellow triangle, the bigger triangle ABC, is isosceles because the two side lengths are the same. And then that tells us that these two bottom corner angles are the same because of isosceles triangle. And then we could see that because of the indicated parallel lines, that these two X and A are the same and Y and B are the same because of the corresponding angle, the F rule. And because A and B are the same, and then A is X and B is Y, we can therefore justify that X is the same as Y. And in this triangle APQ, if X is the same as Y, that tells us it's an isosceles triangle because that's a property of an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle also has that the two sides are the same length, which is exactly what we want with AP equals AQ.